what we see when we talk about economic growth, that is really economic growth, high rate of economic growth, registered and explained in terms of the G and GDP. That doesn't say how that wealth is distributed, and that's the point that I was making. Yes. That whatever progress that was made in Ethiopia is not widely shared, and people cannot feel it. And that's not really an Ethiopian problem. It is a problem a world over. So there is economic activity. There is economic activity in Ethiopia. There is, as a result of that economic activity, there is growth. Growth is registered. Now, I personally doubt that the rate of growth is 10% or 11%. It's probably in the neighborhood of 7%. But regardless, if people who dominate that economic activity is the party businesses, the military and politics, and the oligarchs, well, you can see why people still protest. In fact, when there is growth and people are not sharing in that, it actually heightens the possibilities of uprising. So that is the GDP growth. There are some also developments going on in Ethiopia, not only economic growth, there is development. For instance, one example is universities. And that's what the government says. It touts that the number of universities have grown from 3 to 30 or 3 to 50. That may be true. That may be true. But as one eminent Ethiopian academic who had lived in the United States and worked in the United States and American universities, in fact, he's a winner of prestigious award named Gabisa Ejeta. He was told while visiting one of the universities in Ethiopia, he said, just because you have enrolled students and erected buildings, it doesn't mean that you have universities. I am a university professor, and I was educated in Ethiopia, so I can tell you that, and everybody agrees that the standard of education, the standard of graduates, is not the same. That just because you carry a degree, it doesn't mean that you're an educated person. That extends actually into the ruling party. That getting a PhD, buying it up in the market in the United States doesn't make you a PhD, but that extends into the ruling party. So the issue of growth is not even an Ethiopian problem, but this question of how it's shared. The second question was about
domestic or imported or
right.
Somalian effect. Yes or no?
Yeah, the third one. Now this is about, yes, everybody knows in the world that there have been protests in Ethiopia for the last 3 years. It has now come to international attention because it lasted so long. It's a violent one, not the protesters, but the government that knew only violence in dealing with protesters. That they intruded, these protesters actually intruded in this Ethiopia rising narrative and Ethiopia democratizing narrative that they spoiled. So the way it dealt with was with violence in Ethiopia. But the other thing is that they externalized the origins of the protests. That is to say, the protests are not indigenous. People in the country have no problem. They are very happy that there is economic growth, there is democracy. They are instigated by outsiders. This narrative had been foisted on the international media for 3 years. It no longer is a problem because the government itself now has admitted that outsiders have nothing to do with the protests. They actually said, it's not outsiders. The fault is not even people protesting on the streets. It's us. Who said that? Not me. It's the government itself in its last party congress admitted that. They said, it's us. They say, we got it all wrong. So this is not a question for the international media anymore, since the Ethiopian government itself has admitted the cause for all of these protests are created by the party. Now, I disagree with them that it is only a party problem. No, it is an inherent human reaction to deprivation. Discontent usually produces an upsurge of resistance. So that's what it is. These are real problems. The one thing that I want to say in that respect is the issue that Jawar mentioned. That is, despite the violence, the unprecedented violence, the protesters have remained peaceful, and their demands have been constitutional, legal, and the demands have been saying, restore the Constitution. Let the Constitution function. Restore the federal arrangement. Let it function. These are also supported, the questions of equality, liberty, justice. These are all Geneva should be the place for international instruments of human rights. These are all supported by, so it's not external. The third is about
Somalia. What is with the Somalian collapse?
Is that the same? I think there are different dynamics. What led to the collapse in Somalia is not the same forces working in Ethiopia, but the fact that Ethiopia is in that area, and it's not only Somalia, Southern Sudan is not a functional state, Sudan is not a functional state. In that neighborhood, Ethiopia is supposed to be the anchor, the island of stability that is holding the place in some form of stability. But it is in a real danger of collapse. Who said that? The government itself. That there is an existential threat. If Ethiopia does collapse now, because there is really no alternative, it collapses, there is nothing to take over. In that situation, the reverberation of collapse, state collapse or regime collapse in Ethiopia would be felt throughout the Horn of Africa.
On the image building, I think what was happening was this war on terror, with the instability in the area, Sudan and Somalia. Some in the West desperately needed at least one stable country. And there was, I think, a fear from the Clinton era onward that if they push too much towards liberalization, two things could happen. One, Ethiopia could completely fold itself into China, or it will force it to open up. If they, for example, support the opposition, it could come to instability could issue in the country. Therefore, they really propped up the whole idea of Ethiopia rising, but that created a problem in Ethiopia. What it did is it misled the government itself. The government itself felt that I can repress as much as I want, I can implement any kind of policy that discriminates against people, still my Western financiers will continue to support me. And they turned a blind eye to a similar issue. A good example is Obama went there in summer of 2015. He called it a democratic country, and imagine a liberal man like Obama saying that. And 3 months later, this protest starts. That was for the Ethiopian government to work really hard to paint its image positively in the West, but they had powerful allies, people like Bill Gates, professors from universities, these liberal professors who carry a heavy weight in the media, were able to help them. And having a man like Mallas, absolutely, and having somebody like Mallas Zenawi, pretty smart guy, it helped. But when he dies, and when the political crisis erupts, that may start to crumble. Another problem, you mentioned about Ethiopian Airlines. Yes, it's one of the finest airlines in Africa, but it masks the reality inside. The airlines management is filled by a singularity group, and people in the country who for a long time actually prided themselves with that airline start to say, oh, this is no longer an Ethiopian airline, but an airline of a sustainability group. You know how it is trying to start this. The other question is this domestic or external? There are times when the Ethiopian opposition received support from outside. That's in the 1980s. The movement right now is 100% non-violent. Therefore, it doesn't need anything from outside. It doesn't. They don't need guns, they don't need training, so they don't need anything from outside. These are young people, men, women, doctors, lawyers, who are doing their job and engaging in a number of non-violent protests that weaken the government. And for the first 3 years, the government was saying Eritrea, Egypt, and so on and so on. But now they admitted, in this security document, they say, you know what, the truth is, outside forces have nothing to do with. They're admitting, and as somebody who follows this movement closely, I can attest that the movement really doesn't have any support from outside, and it doesn't need that support because its cost is just quite low. The Somalia type, probably the Yugoslavia type. When you combine a federal state with authoritarian system, the federal entities, the blocks, it kind of go separately. So right now, with this conflict, for example, between Somalia region and Oromia region, you see what could happen if the center actually collapses. If the center continue to lose legitimacy and lose grip over the country, and if it doesn't initiate transition and a dialogue, reconciliation, that what happened in Yugoslavia after the death of Tito, or what happened in Soviet Union, is the kind of stuff that could happen in Ethiopia. Probably worse because it's when the Soviet Union and Russia are surrounded by other countries, these are surrounded by countries that are already in trouble. That is a likely one possibility. But that's not the only possibility in Ethiopia. There's also a possibility of Ethiopia actually moving towards a democratic federal state. If, with the support of a non-violent movement that is refusing to engage in violence, with the emergence of reformist elements within the government, if rapid measures are taken to open up the dialogue and open up the space, the possibility for democratic transition is also there.
Okay, thanks for this precision. So I open the floor to, yes, please. Some question. Here you push the button. Just front of the...
Okay, thank you. Thank you for organizing this panel. I hope you will, the press club, I hope you will continue with that track. And I thank also the panelists for their brilliant expose and much more focusing on real politics than history of Ethiopia, which is paid on 100 years. And you've told us that the country is ruled by 4 ethnic parties. So, unlike Switzerland here, the states, the federal states, are also delineated on ethnic basis or linguistic basis. Now, in my view, this will hinder the movement of labor and sorry. It hinders, I mean, it prohibits labor and capital. So we can see that the dominant party in Ethiopia taking a lion's share. For example, in Tigray region, we have a lot of industries where nobody is going there except themselves. I mean, working only Tigrayans in those industries. So this kind of ethnic killed system, ethnic killed system, is also a problem for economic progress. So, in my view, the real problem now in the country is where these parties are organized on ethnic lines. Unlike here in Switzerland, for example, parties are organized on ideology and interest basis, Socialist Party or Liberal, etc., etc. But in Ethiopia, it is a Tigray Party, Oromo Party, and Amara Party. This is the root cause, in my view, it's the root cause of, or a major problem of Ethiopia now. What's your take on that?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for inviting us here. The issue of the, there's a major debate in Ethiopian politics. The way I look at it, there is of course history why we have ethnic-based federalism. Issues could have been resolved during your generation in the 60s, but my generation inherited a lot of problems. And we have to find a way to